NYSE, LVS. Las Vegas Sands Corporation. Deep Dive Quantitative and Technical Analysis Report. Data as of market close, April 17, 2026. Report compiled, April 19, 2026. Market snapshot. Close price. $57.64, plus $0.93 plus 1.64%. 52-week range. $30.93 to $70.09. Market cap. $38.25 billion. Volume. 4.10 M, 3M average, 4.73 M. Technical rating. Strong buy. Analyst consensus. Buy average target, $69.46. Next earnings. April 22, 2026, post-market. For informational and educational purposes only, not financial advice. Disclaimer. This report is provided for informational, educational, and research purposes only. It does not constitute financial advice, an investment recommendation, or a solicitation to buy, sell, or hold any securities. All data, analysis, and opinions are derived from publicly available sources as of the date indicated and are subject to change without notice. Stock prices are volatile. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Investing involves substantial risk of loss. Readers should conduct their own due diligence, consult licensed financial professionals, and consider their individual risk tolerance, investment objectives, and tax situation before making any investment decisions. The author and publisher assume no liability for any losses or damages arising from the use of this report. Data sourced from Webull, webullap.com/ticker/NYSE-LVS, investing.com, Yahoo Finance, MarketBeat, Seeking Alpha, Zacks, CBRE Equity Research, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, TIKR.com, Guru Focus, and other publicly available market data providers. Executive Summary. Las Vegas Sands Corporation, NYSE, LVS, closed at $57.64 on April 17, 2026, up plus 1.64%, plus $0.93, on volume of 4.10 million shares, slightly below its 3-month average of 4.73 M but constructive given the broader market backdrop. The stock has carved a substantial plus 77% recovery from its 52-week low of $30.93, yet remains approximately 18% below its 52-week high of $70.09, underscoring meaningful upside potential if the bullish thesis plays out. Technical signals are overwhelmingly bullish. The investing.com composite rates LVS a strong buy across both moving averages and momentum oscillators, with 10 of 12 MA signals and 9 of 11 oscillator signals in by territory. The RSI, 14, of 65.67 has room to extend before overbought readings, while MACD, 1226, at plus 0.72 continues to expand positively. Quantitatively, the valuation case is nuanced but constructive. The forward P of 17.89x sits at a discount to the trailing 24.55x, reflecting strong expected earnings growth. Q1 2026 consensus calls for EPS of 76 cents, representing plus 28.8% year-over-year growth, on revenue of $3.31 billion, plus 15.6% YOY. Macau gross gaming revenue surged 14.3% in Q1 2026 to $8.16 billion, the third highest quarterly tally since COVID-19, while CBRE Equity Research projects full-year Macau GGR growth of 8.3%, well above the 6% consensus. The pivotal binary event is Q1 2026 earnings on April 22, 2026, with implied options volatility suggesting a 7 to 8% move in either direction. Analyst consensus is by 13 analysts, with an average price target of $69.46 and a high of $78.50. Citigroup, raised April 14. Morgan Stanley maintained a mixed rating with a $67 target, raised from $66 on April 8. Dimension. Signal. Key metric. Price momentum. Bullish. Plus 77% from 52 WK low, above 50 out of 200 MAs. Technical rating. Strong buy. Investing.com composite, 19/23 by signals. Valuation. Fairly value to slight discount. Forward PE 17.89x, PEG 1.0. Earnings catalyst. High impact, April 22. ESA EPS 76 cents, plus 28.8% YOY, implied move plus or minus 7 to 8%. Macau GGR trend. Accelerating. Q1 2026 GGR up 14.3% YOY, March plus 15% MOM. Analyst consensus. Buy. Average target $69.46, high $78.50, Citi. Leverage risk. Elevated/manageable. Debt equity 8.29%, OCF $3.02 billion covers service. Section 1, Webull Market Data Snapshot. Source, webullap.com/ticker/NYSE-LVS, data as of April 17, 2026 market close. The Webull ticker page provides the following verified market statistics, forming the authoritative baseline for this report's quantitative and technical analysis. 1.1 Price and volume data, Webull. Metric. Value. Metric. Value. Close price. $57.64. Day change. Plus $0.93, plus 1.64%. Open. $57.13. Previous, close. $56.71. Days range. $57.13 to $58.46. Percent range. 2.35%. 52-week range. $30.93 to $70.09. Position versus 52 WK. 82% of range, recovery phase. Volume. 4.10 M shares. 3-month average of volume. 4.73 M shares. Percent turnover. 0.62%. After hours price. $58.04, plus $0.40 plus 0.69%. 1.2 market capitalization and share structure, Webel. Metric. Value. Metric. Value. Market cap. $38.25 billion. Enterprise value. $50.19 billion. Shares outstanding. 663.62 million. Free float. 275.77 million. Free float MKT cap. $15.90 billion. Lot size. 1 share. Next earnings date. April 21st to April 27th, 2026. Ex-dividend date. February 9th, 2026. 1.3 key valuation ratios, Webel/Yahoo Finance cross-referenced. Ratio. Value. Ratio. Value. PE, TTM. 24.55x. PE, forward. 18.01x. EPS, TTM. $2.348. BVPS. $2.356. PB ratio. 24.47x. PS ratio. 2.989x, Webel/3.07x, YF. EV/revenue. 3.86x. EV/EBITDA. 11.16x. PEG ratio, 5 years. 1.03. Beta. Not applicable, Webel. Dividend, annual. $1.20. Dividend yield. 2.08%. Webel note, the ticker page is optimized for price/statistics reference. Separate navigation tabs, charts, financials, news, are required for technical charts, community feeds, and earnings data, all cross-referenced via investing.com, Yahoo Finance, and Zacks for the deeper analysis in subsequent sections. Section 2, Quantitative Analysis. 2.1 Profitability and Income Statement Metrics. All figures trailing 12 months, TTM, unless stated. Source, Yahoo Finance/LVS Investor Filings. Metric. Value. Context/interpretation. Revenue, TTM. $13.02 billion. Strong post-COVID rebound, Asia tourism driving growth. Q1 2026 reverend estimate. $3.318 billion. Plus 15.6% YOY, Zacks/MarketBeat consensus. Quarterly reverend growth, YOY. Plus 26.0%. Accelerating, Macau GGR momentum key driver. Net income, TTM. $1.628 billion. Margin recovery in progress, higher costs weigh. Profit margin, TTM. 12.5%. Below 2019 peak 20%, upside if costs normalize. Operating margin, TTM. 23.87%. Approaching 25 at 26% normalized benchmark. EPS, TTM. $2.35. Q1 2026 estimate, 76 cents, plus 28.8% YOY. Quarterly EPS growth, YOY. Plus 21.9%. Consistent double-digit EPS expansion. 2.2 Balance sheet and capital structure. Metric. Value. Context/risk note. Total cash. $3.84 billion. Provides near-term liquidity buffer. Total debt. $16.03 billion. Net debt $11.94 billion to $12.19 billion depending on source. Debt equity ratio. 829%. Elevated, leverage amplified ROE/downside risk. Current ratio. 1.14x. Adequate short-term liquidity, no imminent crisis. Operating cash flow, TTM. $3.02 billion. Robust, supports debt service, buybacks, dividends. Levered free cash flow, TTM. $1.97 billion. Solid FCF yield basis for valuation. 2025 capital returned to shareholders. $4.47 billion. Buybacks plus $833 million in dividends, shareholder friendly. 2025 capex spend. $2.02 billion. Primarily Marina Bay Sands $8 billion expansion. Piotrowski F-score. 8/9. Very healthy financial condition, Guru Focus. Ben-AHM score. -2.11. Unlikely earnings manipulator, accounting integrity. 2.3 Return metrics and efficiency. Metric. Value. Note. Return on equity, ROE. 73.26%. Leverage amplified, reflects capital structure, not just ops. Return on assets, ROA. 9%. Improving as Macau and Singapore assets generate income. Short interest. 1.76% of shares outstanding. Low, 3.04 days to cover minimal squeeze risk. Institutional ownership. 40.7 to 40.89%. Balanced institutional/insider structure, 13.3% insider. Dividend, forward annual. $1.05/yield 1.82%. Payout ratio 42.55%, sustainable with current FCF. 2.4 Valuation framework and price target analysis. Multiple valuation methodologies corroborate the analyst consensus of $68 to $78 upside targets. Method. Scenario. Implied value. Assumptions. Forward PE. Base. $65 to $72. 16 to 17x FY 2026 EPS $4.00, $4.25. EV/EBITDA. Base. $68 to $75. 10 to 12x EBITDA, normalized margins. DCF, conservative. Bear. Overvalued 94%. Low growth/high discount rate assumptions. DCF, consensus growth. Bull. $70 to $80. 5 to 6% revenue CAGR, 16 to 17x exit multiple to 2028. Simply Wall Street fair value. Base. $65.85. LVS at $57.64 equals trading at 12.5% discount. TIKR mid-case. Base. 9.1% annualized return. 4.2% rev growth, 26.4% op margin, 16.7x exit. 2.5 Q1 2026 earnings preview, April 22, 2026. Item. Consensus estimate. Year ago actual. EPS, Q1 2026. 76 cents per share. 59 cents per share, Q1 2025. YOY EPS growth. Plus 28.8%. Prior, 54 cents, Q4 2024. Revenue, Q1 2026. $3.318 billion. $2.86 billion, Q1 2025. YOY revenue growth. Plus 15.6%. Historical context, $3.65 billion Q4 2025 EBITDA margin focus. 26% benchmark. Macau EBITDA margin fell 390 BPS in Q4 2025. Implied options move. Plus or minus 7 to 8%. Binary risk event, prior announcement, plus 0.57%. Conference call time. 1:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. April 22, 2026, investor.sands.com. Key watch points on the earnings call. 1. Macau property EBITDA margins versus the 390 BPS Q4 2025 decline. 2. Singapore GGR hold normalization impact. 3. Guidance on the $8 billion Marina Bay Sands expansion timeline. 4. Premium mass segment penetration. And 5. Any commentary on tariff/trade tensions affecting China consumer spending. 2.6 Industry context, Macau and Singapore GGR outlook. Q1 2026 Macau GGR, MOP $65.87 billion, $8.16 B, up 14.3% year over year, the third highest quarterly tally since COVID-19 onset, casino.org/CBRE. March 2026 Macau GGR alone hit $2.8 billion, plus 15% YOY and plus 9.8% from February, beating analyst consensus of MOP $22.2 billion. CBRE Equity Research projects full year 2026 Macau GGR growth of 8.3%, significantly above the 6% market consensus. CBRE notes that for full year growth to fall to only 6%, quarterly performance would need to slow sharply, which it views as unlikely. Morgan Stanley forecasts 6% Macau GGR growth for 2026, outpacing Singapore and Las Vegas, each 1%, though cautions on EBITDA growth of only 2% due to structural reinvestment cost pressures. HSBC Global Research projects full year 2026 Macau GGR of $32.65 billion, plus 8% growth. The LVS CEO specifically stated Sands Macau properties will deliver better results in 2026. LVS Macau market share target, 25.1% in 2026, supported by aggressive premium mass segment marketing investment. Singapore, Marina Bay Sands record 16.9 million tourist arrivals in 2025 drove all-time high EBITDA. Hold normalization in 2026 may create 1% GGR headwind, but volume growth expected to offset partially. Citigroup raised its LVS price target to $78.50, from $76.75, on April 14, citing premium mass baccarat wager growth of plus 25% YOY from high-volume players. Section 3, Technical Analysis. Source, investing.com, barchart.com, TradingView, as of April 17, 2026 close. 3.1 Composite Technical Rating. Overall Technical Rating, strong buy. Moving averages. Buy. 10 by 2 sell. Oscillators/momentum. Strong buy. 9 buy 1 neutral 1 sell. 3.2 moving averages detail. MA type. Period. Level. Versus close, $57.64. Signal. Simple MA.
5 mA.
$57.86. $0.22 below. Sell. Exponential MA. EMA 5. $57.68. $0.04 marginally below. Sell. Simple MA.
10 mA.
$57.50. Plus $0.14 above. Buy. Exponential MA. EMA 10. $57.51. Plus $0.13 above. Buy. Simple MA.
20 mA.
$56.92. Plus $0.72 above. Buy. Simple MA.
50 mA.
$55.47. Plus $2.17 above. Buy. Simple MA.
100 mA.
$54.59. Plus $3.05 above. Buy. Simple MA.
200 mA.
$54.29. Plus $3.35 above. Buy. MA analysis. The stock has sustained a price level above all longer-term moving averages, 50, 100, 200-day, confirming an intact uptrend structure. No death cross is present. The 50-day MA at $55.47 serves as first major support. The only short-term caution is the MA5/EMA5 crossover to sell, indicating potential 1 to 3% consolidation before continuation. 3.3 Momentum oscillators detail. Indicator. Period. Value. Signal and interpretation. RSI, Relative Strength Index. 14-day. 65.67. By approaching overbought, greater than 70, but room to run, healthy momentum. MACD. 12.26. Plus 0.72. By positive and expanding, confirms bullish trend continuation. Stochastic oscillator. 9.6. 75.664. By elevated but not extreme, momentum intact. Stochastic RSI warning. 14. 25.848. Self-divergence signal, monitor for short-term pullback risk. CCI, Commodity Channel Index. 14. 54.67. By moderate positive trend, not overbought territory. Williams %R. 14. Minus 34.84. By neither overbought, -20, nor oversold, -80, bullish zone. ADX, Average Directional Index. 14. 35.27. Neutral trend is present and meaningful, greater than 25, but not extreme. ROC, Rate of Change. 2.47. By positive momentum acceleration confirmed. Bull/bear power. 0.782. Buy bulls in control of the tape. ATR, Average True Range. 0.44. Low volatility, compressed range, expansion likely on earnings. MACD Golden Cross, bar chart/A invest. Score, 8.09 to 8.13. 75% win rate, 1.73% average return historically, strong signal. 3.4 Classic pivot points and key levels. Level type. Price. Level type. Price. Pivot point. $57.68. Resistance 1, R1. $57.78. Support 1, S1. $57.58. Resistance 2, R2. $57.87. Support 2, S2. $57.49. Breakout target, bull. $62 to $65. 50-day MA support. $55.22 to $55.47. Year-end bull target. $65 to $72. Stop loss, scalpers. Less than $56.50. Breakdown level. $54 to $55, earnings miss. 52-week low. $30.93. 52-week high. $70.09. 3.5 price action, chart patterns and volume analysis. 52-week performance, LVS has gained approximately plus 77% from its 52-week low of $30.93, demonstrating exceptional recovery momentum in the Asia gaming cycle. Trend structure, stock trades in a confirmed uptrend, higher lows pattern visible over the last 5 to 10 sessions, price holding above all major MAs, 50, 100, 200-day, and no classic reversal patterns, head and shoulders, double top, evident in recent data. Golden cross status, no death cross, 50-day crossing below 200-day, is present. The 50-day at $55.47 versus 200-day at $54.29 confirms a bullish cross structure intact. Volume context, April 17th volume of 4.10 M was constructive, up day, but below the 3-month average of 4.73 M, not explosive. A breakout above $58.46, days high, with volume exceeding 5 M plus would signal strong institutional accumulation. ATR compression, current ATR of 0.44 reflects a low volatility, coiling environment. Historically, ATR compression ahead of earnings resolves in sharp directional moves. Implied options pricing suggests plus or minus 7 to 8% move on April 22nd. Intraday pattern, April 17th open at $57.13 with a steady grind to $58.46 intraday high before closing at $57.64, constructive accumulation behavior. After hours extension to $58.04, plus 0.69%, suggests continued buyer interest. 3.6 Multi-timeframe technical outlook. Time frame. Bias. Signal source. Key condition to monitor. 1 to 5 days. Bullish with binary risk. MA5 sell/Stochasai sell offset by MACD buy. Earnings April 22nd implied plus or minus 7 to 8% move. 1 to 4 weeks. Bullish. RSI 65.67, MACD plus 0.72, 10-12 MA signals buy. Hold above $55.47, 50-day MA support. 1 to 3 months. Strong buy. Macau GGR acceleration, strong buy composite. Positive Q1 earnings guidance plus margin stabilization. 6 to 12 months. Constructive uptrend. All LTMAs, 100/200-day, in buy configuration. Asia macro risk, China slowdown, regulatory shifts. Section 4, Analyst Consensus and Price Targets. As of April 2026, 13 sell-side analysts cover LVS. Consensus rating is buy, with price targets ranging from $67, Morgan Stanley mixed, to $78.50, Citigroup buy. Firm. Rating. Price target. Date/note. Citigroup. Buy. $78.50. April 14, 2026 raised from $76.75, premium mass wager growth. Morgan Stanley. Mixed, equal weight. $67. April 8, 2026 raised from $66, caution on EBITDA margin pressure. Consensus, 13 analysts. Buy. $69.46. April 3, 2026 public.com/marketbeat aggregation. Guru Focus/Simply Wall/SA. Fair value estimate. $65.85 to $69.95. Intrinsic value, LVS at discount to fair value at $57.64. Seeking Alpha, March 2026. Buy. Not applicable. Compelling buying Macau/Singapore growth underpins thesis. Implied upside from $57.64 close, consensus target of $69.46 implies plus 20.5% upside. Citigroup high target of $78.50 implies plus 36.2% upside. Simply Wall Street fair value of $65.85 implies plus 14.2% upside. Section 5, Risk Factors and Bull/Bear Scenarios. 5.1 Key Risk Factors. Risk Category. Specific Risk. Mitigant/Context. Leverage. D/E ratio of 829%, $16 billion total debt amplifies downside in downturns. OCF of $3.02 billion covers service, net debt $11.94 billion manageable given scale. Earnings event. April 22 Q1 results, binary plus or minus 7 to 8% implied move, margin miss could crater stock. Macau Q1 GGR up 14.3% YOY support speed, watch EBITDA margins closely. Macau regulatory. License concessions, gaming law changes, CCP policy shifts could impact operations. LVS renewed licenses in 2022 for 10-year terms, deepest regulatory visibility in years. China macro. Slowdown in China consumer spending, trade tensions, tariff escalation could suppress visitation. China stimulus ongoing, Macau tourist arrivals recovering, premium mass resilient. EBITDA margins. Macau EBITDA margins fell 390 bps YOY in Q4 2025, rising event costs, payroll, player reinvestment. Morgan Stanley labels reinvestment cost pressure as structural, market has partially priced this. Singapore hold. 2025 record MBS performance driven by high VIP hold rates, normalization in 2026 may compress EBITDA. Volume growth expected to partially offset, mid-single-digit Singapore gaming volume growth forecast. CAPEX intensity. $8 billion Marina Bay Sands expansion commitment limits near-term FCF, execution risk. Expansion positions MBS as preeminent Asia resort property, long-term ROI positive. Geopolitical. Middle East unrest creating oil/supply chain concerns impacting China/Macau economic outlook. Direct supply chain exposure limited, indirect via China trade environment. 5.2 bull case / bear case / base case scenarios. Bull case. Target $72 to $80 by year-end 2026. Q1 2026 earnings beat plus margin stabilization signal. Macau GGR grows 8% plus CBRE versus 6% consensus. NBS Singapore expansion drives re-rating. Premium mass momentum sustains. RSI extends towards 70 to 75 on strong volume breakout. Catalyst, earnings beat, guidance raise, Macau April GGR greater than $2.6 billion, Singapore volume growth above mid-single digits. Base case. Target, $65 to $72 by year-end 2026. Inline earnings, steady Macau GGR 6% growth, Singapore flat EBITDA. Technical momentum continues through mid-year. Analyst consensus target $69.46. Hold/add on dips to $55 to $56. Action, scale in on pullbacks to 50-day MA, $55.47. Define stops below $56.50 for active traders. Long-term holders benefit from 1.82% yield plus FCF compounding. Bear case. Target, $48 to $55, earnings miss scenario. Macau EBITDA miss, margin compression worse than expected, China economic slowdown materializes, geopolitical escalation dampens Asia travel. RSI breaks below 50, stock tests 50-day MA and potentially 200-day at $54.29. Trigger, EPS miss below 65 cents, revenue below $3.1 billion, negative guidance, Macau April GGR misses. TIKR low case, 4.8% annualized return, weak but not catastrophic. Section 6, Conclusion and Action Framework. Las Vegas Sands Corporation, NYSE, LVS, presents one of the more compelling quantitative technical confluences in the consumer discretionary gaming sector as of April 17, 2026. The stock sits in a recovery uptrend supported by an accelerating Macau GGR environment, a constructive technical structure with 19 of 23 indicator signals in by territory, and analyst price targets implying 20 to 36% upside from the $57.64 close. The central tension is the April 22 earnings binary event, which will either validate or challenge the margin improvement narrative. Macau Q1 2026 GGR surged 14.3% year-over-year to $8.16 billion, a strong fundamental tailwind, though EBITDA margin pressure, down 390 bps in Q4 2025, remains the critical variable for re-rating. Recommended Action Framework. Bullish entry. Hold or accumulate on dips toward the $55 to $57 zone, 50-day MA support. Target, $65 to $72 by year-end. Ideal entry, post-earnings dip to $55 to $57 if results are in line. Watch for RSI to retrace below 60 before adding. Cautious hold. Trim or hedge existing position if RSI pushes above 70 pre-earnings. Consider protective puts to hedge the plus or minus 7 to 8% implied move. Portfolio sizing, limit to 2 to 4% of portfolio given earnings binary and leverage risk. Stop loss. Define stop below $56.50 for short-term/active traders. Long-term investors may use 200-day MA, $54.29, as trailing stop. A weekly close below $53 would signal trend breakdown requiring reassessment. Key monitors. 1. Q1 EBITDA margin versus 390 bps Q4 2025 decline. 2. Macau April GGR versus analyst EST of $2.6b. 3. Singapore volume growth guidance. 4. MBS expansion capex update. 5. China macro/tariff commentary. Sources: Webble, webull.com/ticker/NYSE-LVS, investing.com, Yahoo Finance, Zacks Investment Research, MarketBeat, Seeking Alpha, CBRE Equity Research, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, TIKR.com, Guru Focus, Simply Wall Street, Casino.org, GGR Asia, CBRE, NextEarningsDate.com, and public regulatory filings. Data current as of April 17 to 19, 2026.